Hey, welcome back. It is Guido, and I've got another interview with pretty cool on this one, guys. We're going to talk a lot about competitive stuff because I've got Twitch handle OranjoMan, World of Tanks handle MeMeBigBoi with us today, one of the newest of the NACCs. Say hello there, Meme, to everybody.
Hello, hello. It's good to be here.
Outstanding. Thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. This is going to be cool because I don't do a lot of the competitive stuff, and Meme here does a lot of the competitive stuff. So hopefully you guys can get some good information out of this, especially if you're trying to do that, like what it takes, what they're looking for, how it goes. I did watch some of your content there, Meme. I watched a considerable amount of your competitive stuff. It's pretty interesting, actually. I saw you call one. Was that a?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to call a very, very long time ago, and during one of my streams, I thought it was like, might as well try doing it one more time, see if I still got it in me. So,
dude, I don't know anything about it, but it looked pretty good. I mean, I guess you have better callers than you or something. That's kind of what I got the gist of it. But dude, that was pretty awesome how that went down. I did a little competitive a long time ago, but it's been a while, and it's a different world, I think, out there. But anyway, So thanks for coming by. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your content.
Well, I mean, like you said earlier, my Twitch handle is OranjoMan, but I formerly go as MeMeBigBoi or Meme for short. I've been playing the game for about 7 years. 6 of those years I've been in competitive play. I've been at every single level. I've gone from the 800 elo clan straight up to the #1 clan on North America currently. I've been playing in different types of leagues, different everything, getting myself into every single type of competitive scene that you could see in the game. So, I really try to push myself and learn as much as I can about the game to see what I got in me. So hopefully on my stream, I teach other people, how to grow as a player, how to get better, and enjoy what competitive truly is.
So what clan is that? You said it's #1 clan. Which one is it?
From the past campaign, in the top 1% was Give Up.
Okay.
It's currently the highest elo and highest rating clan.
And is that a clan, no kidding, of just competitive players? That's the purpose of the clan and what they like to do? Yeah.
Yes. I would say there's about 100 clans or so that are currently focused on just competitive, and that's one of them.
Right. So there's so much on the competitive thing. If someone is new to the game or new to competitive, what should they be doing?
Well, there's two main things that you could do. One is, of course, improve win rate. In the competitive scene, win rate, even though that a number can't justify how well you perform in a competitive game, win rate is more of like the college degree to get you in the class you want to get, right? It's the grade that can measure where you should fit in the competitive scene.
Yeah.
So the higher you focus on your win rate, the more options you have to join different competitive clans, and you can learn more. The second thing is making connections by legionnaring in advances. Always try to go and meet new people, even if you're not part of a clan or if you're part of a clan that just doesn't do competitive. If you go legionnaire, meet people, get to know the scene itself. If you're just trying to get in, see if you enjoy it, see if you fit in. Yeah. Find a group of people that you like and just, make those connections.
So break down the win rate thing because I think there's a little more than that. Obviously, if you're raging around at tier 3, padding your win rate, that's not what guys are looking for. So give people a little bit more of a breakdown on what type of win rate, what tiers, and that kind of thing.
So whenever you apply to a clan, right? As you are applying, you usually give your statistics. And what happens in the background, what the recruiter will usually do is they go through your statistics, but they don't just go through your overall big number on the top of the screen that says, I have 2,000 recent win rate, right? What they do is they go through each individual tank that is at tier 10 because you're competing at tier 10, and they want to see which tanks you do well in. If you do very well, in the 1-2-1, the Chinese tier 10 medium, right? You're having 3K win rate in that tank. Yeah, sure, that's pretty good at tier 10. But if you can't do more than 2,000 damage in your S-Conk, people are going to start being like,
Right.
So it always depends on, if you're doing good, that's great. But it depends on what tanks you're doing good in, especially if you want to get to those, the top 10% clans, the top 1% clans. It really matters what tanks you're doing well in.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So meta tanks. really
Yes.
is the primary thing they would be looking at. Obviously, it's a snapshot in time of your whole statistics, but it's the specific tank. You mentioned Super Conqueror. What are some of the other tanks people would want to try to get good at to get into one of these clans?
Well, if you are just starting out and you don't have any, if you have the Clan Wars tanks, right, the Chieftain 907, 2790, those are the ones you really want to show your stats in. But I'm assuming if you're just starting to get in the competitive field, the things you want to focus on are things like the 430U, 277, and S-Conk, and EBR. Those are the 4 most needed vehicles in competitive play, and if you perform very well in pubs in them, people will be looking for you.
I hate to ask this, Pooey, artillery. What if you're just a hard over artillery guy? Which one would be wanted?
I mean, out of artillery, the CGC, but it's very hard to get into a clan just based off artillery. You have to be known in the community,
right,
as an artillery legend.
Yeah, as an artillery legend, you said.
yes. There's some players that the only reason they get to those top clans is because they are renowned as just artillery legends.
Yeah, and there's only one slot on rosters, and not every time, depending on the map, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so each big clan's probably already got that one designated arty person that's going to dominate and get on the roster every time. So changing gears a little bit. So describe your community on Twitch. What is the goal of your Twitch channel? What's your community like? What do you bring to the table for the World of Tanks guys that want to watch Twitch with you?
Well, the main thing that I try to focus on is just having fun. Just having fun in a competitive scene, right?
Wait, competitive is fun? What are you
Yes, competitive is very fun. A lot of people they log in and they look at all these Clan Wars players and they see the YouTube videos of people screaming at each other and pure rage, right? If you sit down and you see what's going on, it is very entertaining. You can the amount of tension that goes into a battle, the amount of excitement that you go in before you play that game is just so much. Oh, it's like an adrenaline rush straight to the brain. It can be very fun, You know what
it is, actually? I found that when I was doing it. See, I did a Bronze League team years and years ago when that was going on, and we actually went up to Silver League, and then the team fell apart, and we didn't do Silver. But I do remember that feeling when the countdown's going, and it is weird to get an adrenaline rush off of a pixel tank game, but you can get that.
Yeah. I don't know how many games I've played when we're playing for the #1 spot, and every shot that you fire, especially when you're fighting another 1%er clan, right? Every missed shot could cost you the entire game.
Yeah.
So everyone's just, I got to make sure that I have 100% pen rate. I got to make sure that I have 100% hit rate. Every shot counts. It's not the same game. Competitive and pubs, 2 completely different games.
All right, describe that. Why?
In pubs, you can sit back, you can listen to music, you can I got hit by already, or I died, or I went to the wrong spot. I'm gonna just go into the next game. In competitive, you are basically sitting down in a chair, coordinating with 15 other people at all times throughout the battle to try to see if you can win at all times. The maps, they play completely differently.
Yeah.
The tanks, the meta is completely different. It's no longer a game of how much damage can I do so I can have better win. It's a game of how much damage can I do so I can make sure the team will win. Best spots, best positions, best timing, rotations, all of it.
So you talked a little bit about the tanks, and we've covered that a bit. Give me your thoughts. So I'm a mostly pub player, obviously, so I have certain thoughts about 279Es, chieftains, things like that, showing up in pubs and ranked and all that. From a competitive player standpoint, talk a little bit about those reward tanks and how they play into competitive, and what you guys feel about them, because clearly there's tanks that you guys use. Chieftains, 279Es, 907s, Super Conks to some extent, 277s you mentioned, EBRs. What's the competitive community's thoughts on that from a good player on obviously a really great competitive team?
So there's 2 different opinions, right? There is the opinion of the elitists and then the opinion of the newcomers. The newcomers, they believe that things like the Chieftain 279E of the competitive scene, at least, are they're overpowered. The elitists, since they already got them, they're they're just smashing the little ones.
Trying to protect their turf or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But from the elitist point of view, it's actually quite surprising. Tanks like the 279E are not as common. And the reason being is if you put a good player against a 279E, he should have a 100% pen ratio against him. Right? Yeah. If you put a 277 against a 279E and that 277 is firing heat, he as long as he knows what he's doing, he's gonna pen him every time. The armor's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So the 279E is a great pub stomper, right? If you're fighting a tier 8, you're gonna laugh and roll over him. But when you're playing a 279E in competitive play, it's very different.
But let's shift gears to the chieftain though, because I think that's a different situation.
When you play competitive play with a chieftain, it's not, you can't really see the difference as much. You can see the difference when you're fighting a clan that doesn't have chieftains, but usually the clans that exist right now, they at least have a good set of 5-10 chieftains in the clan,
right?
Or chieftain players in the clan. So when the chieftain first came out and clans, only the top clans were able to get it, there was a big difference, right? Only the top clans had it and no one else did. That was completely unfair. But as time went on, more and more people got chieftains, more and more people got tanks, and now the playing field is that everyone's got a chieftain.
Yeah.
I can see the top 100 clans that are currently competing. All of them have chieftains. So you don't, in competitive play at least, you no longer see that massive, oh, he has an overpowered tank, he's just going to beat me. It's more of just, we both have chieftains, so now it just depends on player skill.
So what's the community's, and particularly your thoughts on the fact that that's all it is, chieftains and 907s? What is that in your opinion, is that actually good for competitive, or is it bad for competitive, or is it kind of indifferent?
It's a little bit more indifferent. The reason why it's good is because the chieftain, because it's so, because both everyone has it and that it's so good, it means that you truly have to be very good at what you're doing in order to prove that you're number one, right? If everyone has the exact same tank,
right,
then that means that you have to push yourself 10 times harder just to make sure that you show everyone, hey, there's a reason why I'm number one.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's an interesting thing because the enemy of skill is randomness. The chieftain takes a good bit of the randomness, especially in RNG, out of the game. Maybe not the pen stuff. The pen stuff's still there, but then there's this aiming and all that. But in regards to dispersion, for example, of just plain old hitting the target, the tanks that tend to be used are quite accurate and takes a lot of that randomness away from the competitive side. Is that true? Is that how you guys look at it, or?
The funny thing is, a lot of people who don't have the chieftain think that the chieftain's pinpoint accurate. The S-Conk has a way better gun than the chieftain. Better DPM, better accuracy, better everything. Usually what clans even give up, what we did a lot, is we would have chieftains play the close range fights, and the S-Conks play the far range DPM fights.
Okay.
Because chieftains cannot snipe very well. They can't do it. They're very good at close range brawling, getting hauled down in front of your face, but they cannot fight from a distance. They can, but it's not as effective. But yeah, no, going back on the fact of, like, you were talking about, like, how, the outside community views chieftain compared to the competitive side. Yeah. It really is, it's such a different game that chieftains and 279Es, they aren't that big of a threat, right? Instead of you versus, it's not, in pubs, it's a 1v1, right? It's you versus that or 279E or chieftain on the enemy team. In Clan Wars, it's 15v15. It's my team versus that chieftain and those, other set of tanks that are around him.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you start talking good, effective focus fire, that you take guys out quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Well, so what are your goals, man, with the channel? You're a new CC. You just came out. I think you're affiliated, right? Are you affiliated or partnered?
I'm affiliated with.
Okay, affiliated. So what's the goal? Where is Meme going with this?
Well, the main thing that I don't do any streaming for money. All the money that I've made on Twitch, I've made sure to always give it away. I do not value the money. I already work a job. At this point, I just do this for personal entertainment. I love meeting people. I love sitting down with someone, for 2 hours straight and just having a discussion about Clan Wars, just playing, making jokes. And as long as people come to see, I'm the happiest tanker in the game. I genuinely love it. Every single time I hit my subscriber goal, I'll just give away all the money I made because that's not what I'm in for. I just want to be here to make some jokes, play some Clan Wars, and just be happy.
Save some for a new rig. That's all I'll say. I think that's a fantastic idea, and it's mostly what I do. I actually save some mine to build my next rig.
Yeah. I got a pretty big rig though. I got a
Good.
pretty decent setup over here.
Excellent. What? So how long have you been playing tanks? What brought you to tanks?
7 years that I've been playing tanks. I actually was got on tanks because of one of those, like those little ads on the side where you kind of play around with, it says, oh, shoot the enemy tank, and you click and it just brings you to the download link instead of actually shooting the tank. I got angry at that. I was like, I want to shoot tanks, so I decided to download the game.
You got lured in by their little ad thing, huh?
Yeah, everyone always asks, do those things actually work? It's like, well, it brought me in 7 years ago. So
at least once, right?
I'm still here, yeah, at least once. All the money that Wargame is paying for that, it worked for me at least.
That's awesome. So, are you a lifelong gamer? Do you play other games? Is this your only game?
Sadly, this is mainly my only game. I do play things like Apex Legends and Factorio, but not as often as World of Tanks. I actually calculated how many hours I spent playing this game. It's been almost 17,000 hours. That is almost a year and a half of me sitting in front of the computer playing only World of Tanks. It's been a long time.
Mine may be double that. It's interesting to bring up Apex Legends because the FPS community has various very competitive communities as well. Have you done any of that stuff competitively with the other games, or?
I have done a few tournaments, but the issue is because I've only played World of Tanks. World of Tanks is a very slow pace.
This is what I'm getting at. What did you find the difference to be?
Yeah, aiming in World of Tanks, you can take like a good 10 seconds to aim for a shot. In things like Apex Legends or Call of Duty, you have like less than half a second, and if you miss, it's over.
Yeah. Right.
Each game you could play, like there's some rounds I'll go into Apex last 45 seconds because I missed 2 shots. So it's completely, it's way faster pace. I'm very behind when it comes to the reacting. So I've been practicing and learning about all that and getting faster.
I just watched a video that was recommended for me on YouTube, and it was a very famous, I can't remember his name now, I wish I could, but he was playing Rainbow Siege, and he did a video where he went down to some of the lower leagues and the teams that were trying to get together, and he sort of took his alt account and went in there and was playing them and seeing how they did the onboarding and stuff. What you were talking about, like, hey, if you're a cool clan and you're not toxic and all that. And it was a really cool video because these were obviously younger kids, but they were really cool about it, and they're kind of professional. They had a scheduled time and they went through the whole thing. Well, he gets in there and they're 1v1ing, and he's absolutely annihilating this poor kid who's like the commander of the team. And he says, I had to back off because I took him out 4 times. But I was watching exactly what you're saying. It was the pixel sniping was unreal. Yeah, this little crevice that he'd come out and the guy goes down. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, some people, they think like, oh my god, there's no way that's human reaction. Years of practice, hours and hours of sitting in front of a computer, memorizing every single pixel you see. It's almost unhuman, but it is very amazing to watch.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Years of practice and getting better. Give me your philosophy and the way you go about getting better at World of Tanks.
The way I get better is by putting myself around better people. I started playing this game, like I was saying earlier, I was 400 win 8 in an 800 elo clan. My only tier 10 was an IS7, and I was like, man, I keep on losing these Clan Wars games. I want to win so much. And I started legionnaring, I went into every single clan that I've been in. I was the worst player. I started off as the worst player. Yeah. And I sat as the worst. There would be days where I would never be moved into a Clan Wars battle because they just wouldn't pick me. I was so bad. But the 1-2 battles that I played, I made sure that I memorized and looked at what everyone else was doing and learned from it. Right? There's a reason why they were better than me. So I was like, okay, this guy's, putting in this position. This position farms that damage, and that damage can win the game, right? And then next game I'll do the same thing. And every single time I always slowly climb up the ranks, slowly get a little bit better. And as soon as I get to the top, or maybe there's a lot of politics that happen in these clans that the clan will eventually die. every single time when I go to the next clan, I put myself, I barely get into the clan, get myself into the bottom position, and then keep on running from there, keep on climbing up those ranks.
So are you trying to tell me that it's not rigged or something?
Sadly, no. It is not rigged. Contrary to popular belief, it is not rigged.
Especially in competitive. I never really thought about that. There's a lot of complaints on the forum in pubs. But when you talk about rigging and all the stuff that everyone wants it to not be their fault, I'll tell you what, I guess when you get into competitive, it's very clear at that point. It is your fault.
Yes. It really does, like, playing competitive and losing sometimes is a massive slap in the face, right? It's showing like, hey, you made this mistake and this clan completely exploited you for it. Right? They're it's definitely a kill or be killed situation. They're not gonna be very generous in clan wars.
I'll tell you what, one thing in clan wars / competitive that drove me a little bit crazy, and again, I have limited experience with it, but one of the things that drove me the craziest about it was you'd have a caller, he'd call a push, I'd push, and I was the only guy who did it. Yeah, now, I'm sure at your level that doesn't happen. Guys do what they're told, otherwise they're out of the clan. But I'll tell you, at the mid-tier and lower, that really turned me off. I got tired of that, and I like what you were saying. You pressed through that. You just kept trying, which is a great way to go about it. Right.
Yeah. Listening to a call is like half of the battle.
Right.
Listening to the call is half of the battle. If you listen to the call, and play smart, you might as well be invincible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so talk about your future. You're in Give Up. Give us your, I think we already know the answer to this, but what's your play style? Start with pubs. In pubs, what's your play style?
In pubs? I've practiced in every single class of tank and all that. I'm very aggressive, though, in every single class of tank. I mean, other than artillery. I don't play artillery.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think my biggest fallback is I'll push in too far, and then I realize, like, oh wait, I'm in a 1v7. This is not good, and then I just die. But that's completely my fault because I'm very used to clan wars play. Clan wars, especially at the higher tiers, you need to be aggressive in the beginning to take those important initial spots. Push the enemy back. Force them to lose the HP, not you. And I bring that mentality to pubs, and I keep on forgetting it's not the same game.
You don't have the other 14 guys with you.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's not.
Sometimes it's just you.
It's only me on the start pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about in, I guess you basically answered the question I was going to ask next about in competitive, but really there's not necessarily, I suppose, a play style. It's just listening to the call. Is that right for competitive?
Not exactly. There's two different, I was very careful to say it when, if you listen to the call and play smart, because those are two very different things.
Okay.
Right? Especially at the top 1% of clans, there was a big example throughout the campaign between Chai and Give Up. A caller would tell someone to go into a position, and it's up to the player themselves to play the position correctly, right? Like, I said, like for example, the caller for Give Up, Jack, Captain Jack, he would tell us, I want all the 907s to go to this spot, right? The 907s would go to that spot, and it's their job to make sure that they are the most effective at that spot. If they realize, I'm gonna die here if I stay here, and there's no point of me staying here, they're gonna leave on their own, right? Or if they realize, like, if I hold this spot, or I need to be a little bit more aggressive in order to make the game win, they're gonna do that on their own, right? So you need to play smart, but also, when someone says, hey, push in, you need to listen to the call and push in.
What about just a bad push call? Do you guys ever do you have the flexibility at times to just ignore a bad call?
So when it comes to the top clans, it's very, right now, personally, what I believe are the two best callers, or the three best callers, is Wallhacks, Captain Jack, and OP Hacker. They've been calling for years. I've sat down and I've looked at every single different types of their strats. When some of them call, it's like they make the minimap into a piece of art. It's clear, it's smooth, it's a flow, right? It's not like these jagged calls. And you can, whenever I listen to other callers, after listening to something that's so smooth, I can see the mistakes.
Right.
And after calling for so many years, like, these callers, they don't call just on NA. They go to EU, they call on EU, they get strats from EU, they go to other clans. They constantly are updating their strats to the point where it's very hard. They don't make mistakes very often, and when they do, they don't just blame the team. They suck up to it. They say, "Hey guys, that was a mistake. That was my bad. I'll make sure I don't do that again." And everyone's like, "That's fine."
I saw that a little bit way back when we used to have company battles. There was when the old T50-2 was still glued to the ground. I don't know if you remember that time frame before physics and all that. But I was actually known for T50-2 gameplay, and there was a caller. He actually lived in China. He was an expat, I think Brit or something like that. Might have been American, I don't remember. But yeah, it was the same thing. He was very smooth, is what I'm getting at. Just his calls it was easy to understand. It came out quickly, concisely, correctly, and everyone knew where they were going. And since everyone played with him so much, that you started to just get that synergy of you sort of knew what he was going to say, but then he said it and that confirmed it. And if it was different, you noted because you're like, all right, I expected that, but we're doing something different. Yeah.
It's like you're part of a waterfall and it's a smooth ride. It's so amazing.
All right, let's talk about controversial stuff, man. You ready?
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Anonymizer, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
A lot of people argue that, anonymizers, like, there's no point. I should be able to see people's stats. It's like, ever since the anonymizer came out, I started realizing that some situations, it's not me being focused because of my stats. It's me being focused because of my position.
Right.
Artillery will see, like, it's good enough, right? So, like, there will be some games where you won't get focused because of your stats, right? The anonymizer stops you from those 25% of the time that you'll get focused for your stats, but the other 75% of the time, like, because I'm an aggressive player, right? I'm the first one to get spotted. I'm the first one to take that open position. I'm the first one to be in the line of fire. Artie's gonna go for me, and that just sucks sometimes. But it's still, anonymizer still does help for that 25% of games where I would get focused for my stats, or I would get focused for my clan that I'm in, and
So it sounds like you have more of a realistic view of, you like it, you're using it, but it's not the magic panacea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I don't use it. I'll tell you why. Because my brand is my name, and I'd rather be noticed in a battle than be anonymous. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Right. So I get a lot of people saying, "Hey, Guido," all that kind of thing. I guess I'm on both sides of the fence on that one. My problem with it is, I don't know if you've thought about it this way, is that a third-party stat program caused a company to change their vanilla client. That's weird. That's weird to me.
What do you mean?
Well,
we're
like talking Win8 caused this, right? Win8 caused this. This is the whole argument. It's the colors and there's a slight argument to clan tags and very famous players who, even without XVM, people would know. But the real thing we're talking about is the pretty colors people put in their XVM. Do you use XVM?
Yeah. No, because I have anonymizer on. If you have it on, you cannot see XVM. So I never before anonymizer. Yes, I did use it a lot. But
go ahead.
After it came in, I stopped using it. I said there's no point in me keeping downloading this if I'm never going to use it. So I just.
And competitive in Clan Wars is vanilla mandatory, right?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can only in clan cups, meaning like the final tournament. You have to have a vanilla client, but Clan Wars advances, you can have whatever. I mean, legal mods, of course.
Right.
Not cheats. But you can have XVM in any of those. I mean, it's not going to really do anything. If you're playing competitive, you should already know what the enemy is capable of.
Sure.
So it's stats are not stat focusing in competitive play is just wasting time.
Yeah, that's not a thing. So do you use any mods, any UI mods in the game?
Yes, the most important ones that I use is the HP mod. What it is it shows the HP of both teams on the top of your screen. It is the most, every single caller uses it. The reason being is because you might be up by 7 tanks in the battle,
right?
But if you're down by 5,000 HP, all the enemy has to do is pop, and you already lost. So it is, competitive isn't just that big, shiny. Oh, I'm up by 6 tanks. I must be winning. I've seen games where they're up by 8 tanks and they completely lost to 4 tanks.
What else? And any others that you use that you would recommend people to use?
A lot of most of the time it's like those in-game garage setup mods, things that would like move crews quickly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I in competitive play you have 3 minutes maximum to set up your team before the next match, or you know, some games I'll have like 50 seconds, right? So you need to make sure that you have everything set up as quickly as possible, and you got to get into that next match ASAP. So there's no time for you to sit down and click like 6 buttons and be like, okay, which crews for my chieftain again, type of thing. You got to click your tank, hit battle, go.
That makes sense. All right, artillery. Now, it has a place in competitive, right? I hear this a lot.
Yes. In artillery and competitive, I'm perfectly okay with.
Okay.
I think it makes complete sense. The reason being is, well, actually, there's 2 main reasons. 1, it doesn't affect my stats. 2, I can, you know, I've seen many games where the game's completely dictated because of artillery, right? Now, in competitive, you can play against artillery. If you know that the enemy team has artillery, and that means that they're 1 tank down. They're 1 tank out of the brawl, right? They have an artillery. That means you can be very aggressive and push them into a brawl, right? If
meaning you didn't bring one. You have 15 tanks, and they brought it. Okay.
Yes. So, you know, that right now the meta is actually not just 1 artillery, but 2 artillery.
Really?
Right? It's because the thing is that in top clans, as an individual player, your job is not just to win a 1v1, your job is to win a 1v3. Okay? Yeah. Your job is to hold off the enemy for as long as possible, so your 2 artillery can be doing, you know, 500, 600 damage per shot every 30 seconds.
Is that because chieftains are so good hold down? Is that part of it?
Yes. Yes. It's between both chieftains being very good and also EBRs being very fast and aggressive, and just map positioning, right? If you can spot your enemy team, you know, in the first 10, 30 seconds, right? That's a free volley from your artillery.
Right. And so what's artillery focusing on? What are they trying to do?
Groups. The 2 things: knocking out enemy EBRs, right? If there's a EBR hiding in a bush somewhere, right? If you put yourself in the right position and you say, okay, I'm getting spotted here. There's only 3 different bushes that the EBR could possibly be in. Right. You're gonna tell your artillery, hey, you need to blind fire this bush. The EBR is right there, right? And that's very common to push EBRs back and away from your team. The other thing is just whenever there's a brawl happening, you know, and your teammates are out of the way, artillery, you know, firing because of that splash damage, you're doing 1,000 damage a shot, and that can really dictate a brawl.
Do you find that at the top level where you're playing that the EBRs die pretty easy if people get shots at them?
Bad EBRs, yes. Right? If you like, there are some legendary names, you know, that play EBRs that they can spot things like complete, that they're just in the dark, right? You can tell, but the thing is with the EBR is if you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you're dead. Right. You know, at that level, you know, those enemy players at the top 1%, they're not going to miss their shot. They have amazing crews. They're very patient, and they know how to hit their shots very well, even on the move. Right. So they're you know, a 1 mistake, you're dead. Right.
And I'm guessing if you play the same tank a lot, the lead fire required and your comfort level with it becomes very good. So I play a lot of different tanks. I just randomly play, but I do find myself at times, especially when I'm trying to hit fast tanks, if I'm not used to the shell velocity. But if you're playing 1 tank a lot, I bet you get really good at knowing exactly what your lead fire parameters are and all that.
Yep. Muscles, he like every single time I'm watching a streamer, he's playing with Chai. Muscles, Dark Ninja, they're playing the EBR every single night. They're practicing every single night. They don't miss a shot. They memorize that tank. They could close their eyes and they know exactly what they're doing. You know, they're extremely good at the EBR.
It's practice, man. I mean, I talk about that a lot with the video game. It's video games really illustrate that it's the amount of repetitions in a lot of things that are going to make you good at it. And because you can sit down and play Watts so many matches in a relatively short amount of time, people get really good at what they're doing, and it starts to look like magic to people who are brand new.
There's one main thing that a lot of people say, you know, when they come into my channel. They're like, "Oh, I can't get into those 1% clans. You know, I can't. You know, they use cheats, they use hacks. The battles are rigged. I'll never beat them." You know, that mentality never works. The reason why those people are at the top 1% is because they spent nights and nights practicing over and over and over again to get there. They worked for it. They worked pretty hard for it.
Yeah, that's a fact. You know, if you I always tell people I can probably, because my channel is about helping people, I can get anyone to green. Anyone who wants to take any time at this or try to figure anything else, anything about this game out, you can get to green pretty easily. Past there is going to require a lot of patience and practice and paying attention. But nearly anyone who just thinks about it and wants to get better can get themselves to green. We talked about EBR several times. What are your thoughts on the EBR and the current situation with it?
I interviewed some of the main EBR drivers this exact question, and I think their response was more interesting than my own. They said that, especially with the upcoming nerfs to the EBR won't be affected that much. Right?
No, yeah,
a lot of people are saying, like, the nerf's great. Yes, the nerf will affect the average EBR driver. The nerf is going to affect the EBR driver in puppies. The nerf is going to affect the average clan EBR driver. That, they're going to feel a hard effect. They're going to be like, I can't play EBR anymore. The 1% EBR drivers, they're going to be fine. They don't get hit. They make sure they make those posts when you're not paying attention. And when you're not looking at the EBR, he's gonna punish you for it. So if you're not getting hit in the EBR, which some players they know how to avoid it, they're not going to feel the main effect of it.
There's not a lot of difference between 95 and 91 kilometers. That's just not really a big deal.
Even with getting hit, right? Like it actually drops quite a bit. It goes down to like 65 after 2 wheels. So it's still like the average player is going to feel a pretty big effect because they're going to get hit, first 2 seconds after the first spot.
Right.
It's really like the people who don't get hit. Those are going to be the ones that don't really feel anything.
So it sounds like it's still going to have its place in competitive. It's still going to be the king of the light tanks.
In certain situations, there is actual kind of a weird comeback of the T100 LT, especially on maps like Mines, right? Because a 1v1 close range, a T100 LT will actually beat an EBR almost every time. It's the T100 LT and also, surprisingly, AMX 50, what is it? AMX
13105.
Yes, AMX 13105. That one's also having a reinsurgence because those tanks, they're very good at knocking out EBRs.
So maybe on the tighter maps where the EBR doesn't have the ability to rage around so much, like going on the hill on Mines.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's hard to maneuver up there.
There might be, because of the changes, at least in the average clans, the average or below average, they're gonna start bringing a little bit more weirder lights, or maybe we'll see a comeback of the T100 LT as meta. I have no idea. Probably not though.
Change gears again a little bit. What do you think about ranked? What are your thoughts on that? I noticed you were playing it. Have you knocked it all out, or? I
have people coming in my chat all the time like, what's your percent? How many games are winning? How many chevrons do you have? I could not care. I've sat through ranked so many times, and I started realizing, like, I'm gonna have to defend my badge over and over again. I'm gonna have to, make sure that my percent's so high, no one else can touch me. And I just started saying, like, I'm just going for the tank. Let me get the concept B1, and let me just get out of there. Right?
Yeah.
There's so much like RNG involved, and you have to make sure your team wins. And I've had some games where I do 6k damage in my S-Conk, and I'm farming all that 3 kills, and I still don't get number 1 because some guy in a 60 TP was able to block like 2k damage and get 1 kill.
I know.
And I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
The role experience, it drives me a little bit crazy.
Yeah. So I just give me my tier 9 American heavy and go have fun in ranked because I'm not playing.
So what do you think about the 2 big changes I think that are coming up in the near future? Number 1, the equipment change, and number 2, the crews. We'll start with equipment. What are your thoughts on?
The crew, I'm very interested. I think it could have a positive change. The equipment, though, I kind of think it's unnecessary.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
For example, I have almost 400 plus tanks in my garage, right? I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to, I don't know how many millions of credits I'm going to, because some of these things are not, they're 600,000 for just a basic equipment.
Do you do what I do? You put the equipment on everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have equipment on everything. I have grinded up millions of credits just to put equipment on everything. I save up credits for the discount, spend everything on equipment. And now I have to realize that, all of those credits, completely useless. Like, a lot of people, they're saying, like, why, at least for the people that I'm around, it's like, wargaming is saying, like, the most common is gun rammer, vert stabs, and what was it, optics?
Optics,
yeah, optics.
Or vents,
right?
yeah.
or yeah, optics or vents, right? And they said that these are the four most common things. I'm like, yes, those are the four most common things. Why is this a bad thing though? Right?
Yeah.
Like, just because I don't give too much attention to spall liner doesn't mean that we have to give attention to spall liner. There's some things that are built into the game that just, you know, they can. It's okay if they sit in the garage for a little bit longer. I want to spend my money so I can be able to move my equipment from tank to tank without having to buy, you know, 2.8 million worth of new equipment again.
Yeah, it seems like the meta. This is a very mature game. My God, it's gone for 10 years. The meta is pretty well established. What's important? Damage, damage, and damage. You know what I mean? And anything that helps you do damage is what's prioritized. You know, and for a good player, speed's hugely important with things like 277. That's why it's a popular heavy. It's fast and does damage. But the equipment that does those things, and I don't see that changing. They're going to have equipment that do those things, and now they're building a bunch of equipment that do not those things, and I think they're going to get ignored, just like now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very few tanks. For example, I was watching a video from Des Games playing the ELC Even 90 with all the modules that make his tank, you know, have a higher camo rating.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like there's gonna be a few more trolls out there going in those highest camo rating tanks, just messing up everyone else's game because, you know, haha funny. I mean, they won't be caring about their stats, obviously. They won't be caring about 3 marking or anything. They're just gonna be going around hee hee haha. You can't see me.
Yeah, getting into weird little bushes and places. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like there's gonna be more of those trolls coming out abusing those type of high ratings and whatnot. But other than that, I just kind of don't really see too much of a point.
Yeah, you know what I'm excited about it? The one thing I'm most excited about it is, my understanding is all of the improved and bounty equipment will be taken off your tanks, because I've lost most of mine.
Wait, really?
What? Yeah, that's my understanding. It'll be put in your depot, so you can so you can put it back. But I don't know where all mine is right now.
You know how many tanks I have to go through now?
That's what I'm saying. I can't find my rammer. I don't know where the heck it is.
Actually, I mean, couldn't you just highlight over the vehicle and it shows you where the thing is? That's what usually I do.
Oh, maybe on the garage. Well, I'll check that out. I don't know.
I usually in my depot I can hover over my equipment and it will tell me, hey, this is all the tanks that I have it. That's what I usually do.
Now I'm glad I had you here because I just learned a new thing. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
It may not be 100% accurate, so don't quote me on that. That's usually what I do. I don't know if it's a mod.
Hey, I'm willing to try it, man. If I can find it that way easily, that'd be cool. There's no sense in the UI of being able to find it, right? You just yeah, drives me crazy. So crews, what about the crew changes?
The reason why I said I'm very interested and actually kind of happy is because there's, you know, I have so many crews with 7, almost getting to 8 skills, right? And I'm sitting here like 3 of these skills are useful. The other, you know, the other 4, the other 5, I could be fine without. Right. So seeing what they do with those other skills will be very interesting. But the issue that I see is that a lot of people will start complaining now. Especially to, like, you know, the top 1%ers, because they're gonna be like, I have a 7 skill crew and I only have a 4 skill crew, and only, you know, I can't beat, you know, those type of players, right? And, you know, I wonder how they're gonna go, you know, throughout working these. Are they gonna make the grind to get 7 skills easier? Are they gonna make, you know, are they gonna make the skills very overpowered or not? It's a very careful balance they're gonna have to do.
Yeah, and I think that the scuttlebuttas are going to go to more like a World of Warships, where it's just a crew is a single entity, and you pick the different skills off a tree that crew has. I like the individual people. I thought it was kind of interesting. What I don't particularly like is 7 crew, 5 crew, 3 crew, 4 crew. What I think they should do is make every tank 4 crew: commander, gunner, driver, loader. Put the radio operator, I don't care where. Probably not commander, probably because he's already got a lot of good skills. But then if you redo this, who knows? But anyway, if they were all the same, it would make moving crews so much easier. And plus, it would leave that individual thing, which I find personally interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing I hate so much, especially playing Russian mediums, right? I would go through, you know, start at tier 2, 4 crew, then goes to 6 crew, 8 crew, 4 crew, 3 crew, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, and I'm like, I have 6 Russian radio
guys, yeah,
and I can't figure out which one goes where anymore. You know, I have 3 commanders. I don't know how the hell that happened. things keep on just popping up randomly. It's just,
When I'm streaming, people do a lot of requests, and we're going to talk about this now about tank collecting. But I have every tank in the game.
I envy you.
Tech tree tank in my garage. So they'll ask me to play as a request tank, whatever, and I always have to kludge together a crew. So my crews are an absolute disaster. But we were talking earlier, and you're collecting as well. You said so. You've unlocked every tank. Is that right?
Yes. There's only one tank that I haven't unlocked yet, and that is the Batchat artillery. And I'm not too keen on unlocking the Batchat artillery. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Maybe get a few more blueprints, and if I unlock it, I unlock it. If I don't, oh well, what a big loss to my name. But I may just buy it just to say like, hey, I have all the tanks now.
Yeah, I don't like the RD mechanic, but I'm gonna tell you what, Mimi, when I'm having a bad day and I'm mad about RD hitting me, I'll just get out my 53, 55 and I'll counter. And I know that's not the best way to win games, but there is nothing better than taking out another RD the first shot he takes.
Yep. I before we started talking, I was having a battle in my Kronvan 3 artillery on the enemy team. I'm trying to 3 mark it. I'm trying to focus as much as I can. I'm doing my damage. I'm about to get my final clip in to be able to get a positive for the 3 mark. And I get hit by all 3 artillery and die. No, there's nothing I can do. I'm in an open field. There's no buildings around me. I sit there for like 45 seconds just getting boop, 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 and I just die. Because
it turns out most nice hold down spots that work for those kinds of tanks are also nice and open.
Yep. It's a lovely sight to see,
So how you doing on premiums? You got a lot of those?
Yeah, I think I sometimes I sit down and be like, oh, maybe I should have invested this money into banking or something, or invest, into the stock market. But I think it was I have almost here actually if I click into my garage, I can see exactly how many premiums I have. I have 172 premium vehicles in my garage.
Nice.
So quite a few.
A good number of those will be reward tanks, though, right? Do you have all of the Clan Wars rewards?
Yes, I have every single Clan Wars reward tank except the Tier 8 Chieftain. That is the only one that I do not have. Oh, the Tier Chieftain and the Tier 7 American Medium.
I thought didn't you build a Chieftain last time, or did you not do enough to do that?
I actually, interesting story, I had enough to build 2 tanks, but Wargaming wouldn't allow me.
Oh. Okay. Which one did you build? IS-5?
I built the first one. Yes, I built the IS-5 first.
Right.
After building the IS-5, I had enough to build the Tier 7, and when I was building that Tier 7, it was 30 minutes too long, and I asked Wargaming, hey, it was 30 minutes, can I still have this tank? And they said, nope, you can't have it.
Was the program designed to not allow you to do that, or did you just happen to not quite get there?
It was designed to prevent that from happening.
So you couldn't possibly get to. Okay.
No.
Okay. That's awesome. All right, man. Well, what else you got? You got any plugs? You want to tell people to come by and see MeMeBigBoi?
Honestly, the main thing I care about is just streaming and meeting people. So if you ever are wanting to get into competitive player, just want to sit down and listen to me be a fool making jokes for a few hours, stop by OranjoMan on Twitch.tv. So I mean, I think that's all I really could ask for. I don't want people's money. I just want people's attention and just entertain someone. Help teach someone. That's all I care about.
That's awesome, man. Definitely go by the Twitch stream. Let me get it straight again. The Watt handles MeMeBigBoi. The Twitch is OranjoMan. I will have those links down in the description, guys, so you can find both of those, or find at least the Twitch stream. I recommend it. Like I said, I watched it. They were definitely having fun, and this was great because I've talked to I think, I don't know if it wasn't 13 Disciple. One of the other guys did a little bit of competitive, but you're the first no kidding hardcore competitive guy that I've interviewed, and that's good because that's another part of the game that's out there, and a lot of people love that part of the game. So it's nice. Yeah. So I'll leave the parting words for you. Give us some. I think you just sort of did it, but give us some Mimi World of Tanks wisdom, man. What do you got for the people?
The best wisdom I could give is that if you are ever in a situation where there's another tank, another clan that just keeps on beating you, or you want to get better as a player, there is no such thing as I can't. Everyone has the opportunity to. Everyone, if you put the effort in, even in life, if something's getting you down, there's nothing there should never be a situation where you say, I just can't do it. There's always a situation that if you put work into something, you will be successful, and people will recognize you for the work that you put in. You will not be unrecognized if you truly put in good work.
You know what's interesting about that? I know I said I'd give you the last word, but I'll just add this. I have never met a person that's at the top level of whatever it is they like to do that did not have that exact same attitude.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
It's how you succeed. It's how you succeed. You got to have that attitude.
It's an easy concept, hard sometimes to execute. All right, man. Thanks for coming by. This is Guido signing off. Say goodbye to the people.
Thank you for having me on. It was an honor.
All right, brother. See ya.